Shout out to our partners at HVMN and Ketone IQ.
I am a big fan of Ketone IQ and exogenous ketones for racing, training, and everyday health. They give you extra energy, extra focus, and metabolic flexibility. But what exactly are ketones, you ask? Ketones are a fourth macronutrient, like carbs, protein, and fat. They also are fuel for your brain and clean energy without sugar or caffeine. I use one shot of Ketone IQ 30 minutes before I head out into a workout or training session. Another one 60 minutes later, and so on. I also sometimes take this just to focus during my workday. And for all my athlete viewers, there's no need to ditch your carbs. You can add exogenous ketones and Ketone IQ to your existing nutrition and fueling plan. Totally different kind of energy. HVMN and Ketone IQ are used by Olympic athletes like Des Linden, world champion triathlete Sam Laidlow, and top world tour cycling team, Team Visma Lisa Bike. If you're ready to get on board and level up your nutrition and fueling plan, I've got a code for you. hvmn.com/Marnie for 30% off your first subscription order. Link in the show notes. So Matt, it's so awesome to have you on the podcast again today. Thank you so much for being here again.
Yeah, absolutely excited to be back.
Awesome.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah. So you are training for Boston right now.
I am.
Talk to me about Boston, what it means to you, and like what inspired you to sign up for this race.
Boston means a lot. It's been a bucket list race for me for a long time. Like I remember after I graduated college I ran the 8K, 5K, 10K, that kind of thing. And then I got out, I raced my first marathon and I did pretty well. I was like, oh, I did decent. And I'm like, I'm not far away from qualifying for Boston. So then I just like sent it to the next race and qualified in my next race. And then like little Matt Wilpers, just not knowing what he's doing, I was like, I qualified for Boston. I have to go do this. And this is right after college, right? I trained like an idiot. Like I did everything you could possibly do wrong. I did it wrong. And I ended up with like really bad Achilles tendonitis that turned into tendinosis. And I was done. I never even made it to the race.
Oh my God.
So it got away from me then, right? And then I put marathons aside because it took me a long time to heal from that. And then I ran New York City. My first time running New York City, I was like, all right, well, let's do marathons again. I ran New York City, had a great race, and got under 3 hours for the first time in my life. And I was like, all right, qualify for Boston again, let's go. Then COVID hits.
Yeah.
And COVID takes it away from me again.
You did Boston in 2019, right?
I never did Boston.
Oh, not Boston, sorry, you did New York City.
Yeah, New York City, had a great 2019, crushed it. And that was my first time. And then I was like, oh, I qualified for Boston, so I'm like, let's do it. And then COVID hit, took it away from me again. I'm like, you know what, Boston I just don't have a good thing going.
Yeah.
And then I was like, I just didn't, I think they gave me the ability to sign back up again, and I was like, whatever. And then I spoke with Morton Gels.
Yeah.
And they're like, hey, you want to run Boston? I'm like, I can't turn this down. Like, I have to do this.
Okay.
And so I'm running with Morton Gels. And
so, yeah.
Yeah.
So you're
nutrition.
Running with Morton. Yeah, I like Morton. I like some of the carbs that you put in the water on the bike.
Absolutely.
Yeah, they're really,
so good.
really awesome. So, are you always trained for a marathon?
Heck no.
So
No way. I do. Just for the record, while we're on the record, I do not like marathons.
Okay.
I do not.
I don't like them either.
I don't like it at all.
I'm trying to like them.
I've given up. It's just a love-hate relationship. But the thing is that it tests you. And I like things that test me, that make me stronger, make me figure things out. Like, I can go out and bomb a 5K, bomb a 10K, bomb a half marathon, but you cannot go out and bomb a marathon without like training.
Right, like
seriously. Yeah, seriously training. So anyways, I'm doing it because it's fun, it's exciting, and it's not fun, but it's tough, it's exciting, and it makes me a better runner, to be honest.
So how did you go? Because when did you announce? When did you decide?
Here's the timeline.
The timeline.
February 9th, I announced it.
Okay.
Okay, so I had February, March, bit of April, and then race time.
Okay.
But I started training lightly in December.
Okay, because you kind of had it like in your mind.
And then I had, but then I have all these little vacations that come along the way that get in the way. Like ski vacations are tough because sometimes it's like snowy and you can't run, or like we were literally on the side of a mountain where there were no roads. So it was like you're not training. So I did some training late December to build up the long run, and then after I got back, did some more training in between these little vacations. But yeah, I've been training since late December, I'd say.
So where did you start with your training? Were you already doing like 13.1? Like, what was your longest run up until that moment?
Oh, I think that 6 to 8 miles I'm always comfortable with. Okay. 6 to 8 miles, no problem. And I'm hitting that probably every week, every other week, no problem. Yeah. But then I just went straight up to like 10.
And it's kind of hard in New York to get those long runs in. Like, I actually was gonna do a marathon in April, and I bailed for multiple reasons. I bailed for so many reasons, but
it's okay.
Let's just say that like when it came to doing a long run in like sub 5 degrees, I was like, I don't know how people train for April and spring races.
This is another reason why I didn't want to do Boston. I didn't want to. I just let it go because I was like, training through a New York City winter.
It's brutal.
Oh, look, y'all. I go through a long run, and so, like, the reason why I'm comfortable with the 6 to 8 miles is like you can bang out 6 to 8 miles on the road or the tread, no problem. You don't need any water. You don't whatever. Yeah. Once you get to like 10 miles and above, you need water. Yeah. And you're gonna go to Central Park, nothing's on.
Right. Water fountains go off.
I just banged out 17 miles yesterday with 2 gels and no water.
Do you not run with a handheld or a vest?
I tried it once and I lost my mind. I was like, I can't do this. I had a water bottle, and halfway through the run, I chucked it into a garbage can. I'm like, I'm done.
Oh, wow.
And then, but no, now I'm gonna get like one of those vests. I'm gonna go, hopefully this. I don't know. We'll see. I have mixed feelings about ultra marathons, but it's like one of those ultra marathoner vests.
Okay.
I'm like, if I have the gear, do I have to do one? We'll see. We'll see. I'm too young. I'm too young. I'm too young. Yeah. So at 40 years old, but so yeah, the no water stuff in Central Park is tough.
Yeah, I mean it's really. I like running on the West Side Highway when I'm doing long runs, because if you are doing a long run, right, like down here, there's Battery Park, there's Brookfield Place.
Beautiful.
You can always run in there.
If y'all haven't been here yet, it's beautiful.
Yeah, you can always go in there and get water. Then the next stop is Chelsea. So there's the Blue Stone Lane in Chelsea. They always refill my water bottle. They're so nice.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I didn't know that little trick.
And then there's I'm sharing all my tricks with you. Then there's like the ferry, and that's 45th Street.
The ferry has water?
The ferry station has bathrooms and water. Now,
what?
I mean, it's not going to be like bottled water, but look.
It's something.
It's something.
Okay.
And then when you get up into like, in the summer especially, but the water fountains are on, when you get up into like the 50s and you're like 60s and your buildings.
Those big buildings.
Where the big outdoor restaurant is. They usually have like water. There's a bathroom there, so there's water. I mean, it's gross. It's absolutely disgusting. But when you're running and you need water,
it's something.
And that's kind of it. That's as far as I know. And then like I always stop in delis. But when you go into the park, it's like impossible to get
You go
water.
all pavement then, huh?
Yeah.
I cannot do it. Pavement destroys me.
Well, what you run on the bridle path?
I do the bridle path. I like to do. I love Central Park because I do the. You can run on the bridle path. You can get some gravel. And then you can do the extra top piece and the extra bottom piece to get some pavement. Yeah. So it's like when I train for marathon, I think about like I need to preserve my body, but yet build some durability. So it's the trail helps me preserve my joints. Right. But then I need to get a little exposure to roads. So it provides just enough exposure. It's hilly, and if I'm having like yesterday. The previous week I was in Maryland, I went all roads and I like died. My legs were so shattered. And so yesterday I was like, you know what? I went all roads last week. I'm going all trail today.
And the treadmill, obviously, you know, is a really great tool.
The treadmill too, yes. But for long runs?
Yeah, you gotta have like when I do long runs on the treadmill, I basically put on like 5 of your classes, 5 of Beck's classes, like a few Olivia classes. I just mix it up. And then if I can't stick to it, because I need to see people talking to me either, or I'll put on some movies, but I mean, the Peloton treadmill is freaking awesome, and I think it changed my life. Like
the Peloton content for the tread.
Yeah.
Whether you're on our tread or you're at the gym or whatever, it is like I can't get on a treadmill without it anymore. It's like
it's kind of hard.
It's like it makes it so much better that I'm like, whoa, how do we survive before? I don't know.
I've even tried to like go outside, do half my run outside and half my run inside, but that's like not.
Oh, that's tough. That transition would be tough.
Because you just cool down so quickly.
Yeah.
So when you started training back in December for the Boston Marathon, so you've just been ramping up your mileage every weekend, or how are you training? Like, what's your plan that you're doing?
Oh, so I hired one of the Team Wilpers coaches, Justin Harris. No, it's so of course my shameless plug here. We have my coaching business, Team Wilpers, and Justin Harris, and so I'm working with one of our coaches, and it's been great because I think that even as a coach, you can always learn from other coaches, and I think we always, even as athletes and as coaches, we should always have this attitude of wanting to like learn.
Yeah.
And because you never know it all.
Yeah. And
it's so much fun as a coach working with another coach because you're like, why? And we sit there, our conversations turn from like, how was your run to like, now why would you do that?
Yeah. Well, I feel like that's like, I think it is so important for coaches to have coaches because it's also like a level of accountability.
Oh, it is.
Because you know so much as a coach, right? So you're going to just like, be like, I could do my long run tomorrow and I'll just do this tempo run today.
Oh, and here's another secret. For those of you who have
like, I need to get a coach.
Partners, wives,
myself.
Husbands, is that once you hire a coach, you can be like, well, my coach says I have to go do this. And it creates that much more, like, it has to get done. It's like a chore now.
Yeah.
And so my wife is like, yep, you better go get that long run done. I'm like, thank you.
But your wife is also a runner.
She's also a runner, yeah. She's awesome. And it makes you that, like, because someone's telling you have to do it, it just makes like it's not just coming from me.
It's a third party.
Because if it was just coming from me, she'd be like, Matt, but now it's come from Justin, so I got to do it.
So what kind of time are you hoping to get in this race?
Oh, that's such a sensitive subject. Well, the other thing, so the way I look at marathons, the way I've like come to look at marathons is that, Boston snuck away from me so many times.
Yeah.
And they're tough to get into. It's a big rigmarole. There's a lot of money involved. They like get there, stay there, like all that stuff. And so my point is, you got to show up. You got to make it to the starting line.
Yeah.
In order to ensure that you make it to the starting line, you kind of be delicate with your training. Like I want to make sure that I can finish a marathon, but how hardcore am I going to go on my training to like achieve a certain time? I'm going to go on the lighter side because I want to make sure I can, number one, finish the marathon, number two, make it to the starting line.
Yeah.
So, in the low threes, if I can get under 3 again, that would be wonderful. And if I'm having a good day, I should have no problem with that. But, the other thing is like within marathons, even like I experienced yesterday, my 17-mile run, you can start off feeling wonderful. But then like you're going to go through waves of just feeling great, feeling terrible, and you have no idea sometimes where you're going to, like mile 17, between mile 7, at mile 17, what you're going to see, you just don't know.
Anything is possible.
Anything is
can
possible.
happen.
It's anyone that comes up here and tells you that they're going to get this time, I'm like, nah. What happens when it's suddenly hot, suddenly humid, torrential downpour, like.
You don't know.
So I really don't know, y'all.
Now, are you doing New York City this weekend?
No, I am going.
New York City half.
I'm getting one more ski session in at Alta.
Yeah.
And
wow.
With some friends, I'm excited for that. But no, the New York City half is a great. I'm
doing it.
I'm glad you are. Like I should have done it as like kind of a practice for the race.
Yeah.
But it's okay. That last run I just went on gave me a thorough slapping. So.
I've never done it. Do you have?
New York City half?
So yeah, tell me about the New York City half. What do I need to know?
Oh man, it's like the New York City Marathon light.
Ooh, I might love that.
It's cool because you get to see a lot of New York City, and coming out of Brooklyn and then going over the bridge. That bridge hits you.
The Manhattan Bridge.
The Manhattan Bridge hits you. But then you're running along the highway, and if the sun's out, it's blinding.
Okay.
On the West Side Highway, it can be blinding. You're just like, I don't even know where I'm going. And then you go over, I guess, wherever this weird bridge is to get into Midtown, and it's a lot of fun from there.
There's another bridge?
Yeah, because it's like a side bridge to get off the highway.
Oh, okay. Oh, I did not know that.
And it's like full of pothills.
downhill?
No, it's uphill.
Oh,
And it has all kinds of little pothills and things like that.
okay.
But it's a fun race. It's a great start, and for me, it's always been freezing.
Yeah.
So be prepared for that.
It's not. Yeah, I looked at it. It's going to be raining, but
wonderful.
50 degrees. So I'll take
that's all right.
it. Yeah, 50 degrees is my favorite running temperature, I have to say.
That's the best.
Yeah.
That's the best.
So
You'll be fine.
I ran over the bridge once, so I'm doing the race with New Balance. So I
cool.
kind of got my bib very last minute, and I have never done this race, and I've just did a half marathon in Miami. I just did the Miami half, which I bombed. I literally.
What happened?
It was so hot and it was humid.
Oh yeah.
And I literally just wanted to finish the race and not die. And so I stopped at like every water station and poured water over my head.
What time did the race start?
It starts at like 6 a.m.
That's what I was about to say. It better start at like 6.
It starts really early.
Now, did you do any like acclimation in like saunas or something?
I didn't. I didn't have any time. You know, I did it last year. I know that my family watches and listens to this podcast, and I went early last year and stayed with my parents, which caused tremendous stress. So I said, I'm not doing that again. I think it's just not a win for me. You know, it's a beautiful course. I love it. You run through, you know, all the islands, and Miami is beautiful. Like you see the water like most of the time. So,
that's awesome.
But it's hot and it's humid and it's brutal. So so I'm done with that race.
You're in good shape. That toughened you up for this one, right?
Yeah, then you know, Florida, I got COVID. So I came home and I was sick for a month. And so then I'm like, all right, I've got to do something. And so luckily I got into New York City half.
Okay.
And that was it. Because the January 29th was the race. I came back from Florida after the U.S. Olympic trials. And as soon as I got home, I was sick. And then for the month of February, I could not train.
How are the lungs feeling?
I feel better now, but it took me a long time. Like, I did not think that would happen. But I don't know, everyone that gets COVID gets like...
it drags on.
It was a month ago. But so are you going to go up to Boston and do any race
recon?
Oh,
man,
like,
I wish. From now... If I can squeeze it in, there's like 1 week that's like a maybe, but the rest of everything else is so jam-packed.
Yeah.
That it might just be literally. I have to teach. I'm teaching Saturday. Peloton is like, do whatever you need, but I'm like, I'm going to teach Saturday.
Well, at least you're doing all the
But yeah, I'm going to teach Saturday and then go up Saturday afternoon, and then spend a couple nights there just to get ready to go. But unfortunately, there's going to be not too much before that I can really do. So. And
talk to me about skiing, because you are like a die-hard
skier.
And that's your first. So you're going to Alta this weekend.
Oh, we had a heck of a ski year. We did a backcountry ski touring trip earlier this year, which was planned for well over a year because it's so hard to get into these huts.
Yeah.
And then that was amazing. I mean, once you do ski touring, like guided ski touring in the backcountry, the snow just doesn't get better than that. It's such a high, it's unbelievable. And then we went to Winter Park with the family, did a little family ski trip. My mom used to be a ski patroller growing up.
Yeah.
That was like her high school thingamajig. So
you grew up on skis.
Oh yeah, my mom had a skiing like when we could walk.
Yeah.
And then we just, we came back from Winter Park from the ski trip for the family, and then now it's one more ski trip to Alta and then done.
And your wife also skis.
She does. I think she learned from me.
She did. Did you just like take her up in helicopter and be like, okay, we're going skiing?
No. Her first trip with my family was to Italy.
Okay.
We did a ski trip pre-COVID, actually, right before COVID shut everything down, to Italy. And she literally went from not skiing at all to skiing black diamonds in a week.
Stop.
In a week.
All right, you've definitely met the perfect person in the world for you.
I know.
Obviously,
now
you
she's
know that,
crushing double blacks. I'm like so proud of her.
God.
She's such a rock star.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Do you feel like the stuff you do skiing, I mean, I know it's not like literally sports specific training for running and triathlon, but do you feel like there's some component of it that relates?
It's very different.
Yeah.
You get done running, you get done skiing, your legs feel like blocks.
Okay.
But it's more explosive. It's more lateral. It's more explosive.
Okay.
But then when you talk about ski touring is very like running or whatever, because it's very aerobic.
Right.
Right. You're climbing, et cetera, sweating. But I think that there's always the strength component that it really helps you make a more durable frame, like your body. So I think it's good for the off season. So the off season, your strength training, etc. You're working on like explosive muscles, etc. And that's great for skiing. But also like makes you puts a stronger frame on you going into like endurance season, so they can put on more volume and worry less about injury. So I like that part of it.
Right. I could see that because I mean, there are just muscles that you don't work when you're doing the other sports.
So it's good because like in the off season, again, I always want to think about general fitness to specific fitness.
Right.
It's very much more general fitness.
Right. Okay.
And then when you want to work towards like training for a marathon, you have to be pretty specific with running at that point. But coming in, like my legs have been, pushed in a lot of different directions. So that's good.
So now, after Boston, what's your triathlon schedule for the summer?
Oh, only one triathlon this year, Muscle Man.
Okay, you're doing it.
Oh yeah, I'm doing it.
I
don't think I've signed up yet.
That's all right. I'm sure you could get.
I gotta make sure I get signed up for that. But yeah, I've already booked accommodation, everything else.
You have.
Oh yeah, it's because it's so hard to get accommodation.
Now, were you there last year?
We went to Augusta, Maine last year.
How was that?
It was amazing because they had a big storm the night before.
Okay.
So the river was like ripping, and my swim was like lightning fast.
So when you're doing that lightning fast swim, like, are there also waves, or it's just flat and you're just going down the river?
I can't remember because you just get out there and get at it.
I know.
But what I just, whenever there's like, I always think about the river, it's a lot of times the current's the strongest in the middle, towards the middle. So I immediately just swam as far out in the middle as the cones would let me or whatever. They're not the cones, I guess the buoys. Cones, yeah.
Yes, I knew, but I knew exactly what you were talking about.
Yeah, the buoys, and then go out there and just let it rip. And I think there are some waves, etc., but you don't really notice it. One of the things I'm really thankful I did early in my triathlon career was learn how to bilateral breathe.
Okay.
So that I can breathe on both sides. So if one side's really getting slammed with waves, I'm fine on the other side. Mm-hmm. And that's why I probably never noticed.
Yeah. So, okay, so you're coming back to Muscle Man. They changed the course last year.
Did they?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, no.
So
I should know this.
No, I sit and stare at the course map. When I do like
Did they change the bike?
No, the bike is the same.
Goodness.
So
the bike is fantastic.
The run.
What's wrong with the run?
Brutal.
They changed in a step.
You have to run, so the regular area where you run the first 3 miles off the bike, like you're on that flat area along the water, and then you go under the bridge.
Yeah.
And then under the bridge, you are gonna make they make a hard left, and you run up over the highway this time.
Oh.
So it's a much bigger climb. It's almost like a 10 on the treadmill.
Wow.
For half a mile. But that's just the beginning of it.
What else do they do to you?
I love them. I love the race director. But they had to change it because something happened with the train tracks. I don't know, with someone's timing.
Oh, I remember that was like an issue with that.
Yeah.
Okay, I remember that. My nose is dripping right now. Sorry, I just came in from going through, what is it, that wind tunnel out there?
Oh, yes, there's a wind tunnel in New York today.
Yeah.
It's like whipping 30-mile-an-hour winds.
Sorry, but keep going. Tell me, I gotta know what I'm getting myself into.
I only saw you do it just now.
Oh, no, it's like full on, I don't know.
Do you want to get like some?
No, we're good, we're good. We'll keep rolling.
We're runners. We can let our nose run.
I know, right?
I do that all the time.
I'm
like going to start using my sleeve.
I know.
No, they really, really check it out because I went last summer and thought it was going to be the same as it was the year before, and it wasn't, and I was like gutted. I mean, like I had to walk up a hill, which is fine. Walking is fine, but I like to run, and it was hard. But you know what? Like I love that. I love like surviving that and being able to talk about it. It's a great race.
I think the Augusta Maine run was dope.
Yeah, I've heard that race is really
so good. The run was great. Bike, I was terrified of the bike.
Really?
Because I drove it the day before, and I was like, oh man, this is brutal.
Like hilly?
Hilly, really.
Technical?
And the second half was looked brutal. But for whatever reason, I guess my expectations were so low going into it that I was like, it actually wasn't bad.
Yeah. So do you like hilly courses for triathlon, or would you rather have a flat course?
I want like flat, if not rolling hills, because it's so much for the bike.
And what bike races do you have this year?
I have the Lehigh Grand Fondo.
Okay.
And then so that's Lehigh with Hincapie, and then the Greenville Hincapie Grand Fondo.
I still have to do one of those.
I just love their races. He comes from like a professional cycling background, obviously,
Right.
and it's like the courses that he puts together are just like a cyclist course. Like
Okay.
you're gonna like it's whipping turns. It's a mix. Like Lehigh's got some gravel in it, and it's just like you can tell like a cyclist put this together.
Yeah.
Versus like some of them I've been to that I won't name. I'm just like, what is this? Did you just
Yeah.
look at a map and just be like decide how to torture everybody? Like this is not fun.
So do you ride with a Peloton when you do that, or you ride by yourself? Like how do you do
I
it?
call it it's definitely a fly and die scenario.
Okay.
Where I try to hang on to George's group with Christian, and they're constantly like egging me on, and then finally I just die.
Okay.
And I just
You get
struggle the
dropped.
rest of the way.
Yeah.
There's this one hill that I get dropped on every year, and for whatever reason, it's just like it gets me. So it's like after mile 50, you're going this long descent, and I'm telling you, when you're descending with George and his boys and George and his gang, they rip. I mean, you're flying.
Like 50 mile an hour.
50 is no problem to these guys.
Oh my God.
No
like
problem.
60, 70?
I don't know.
Holy shit.
Not that fast, I don't think. But they're going 50. 50
I can go probably 35 on a downhill.
They have no fear.
Yeah.
And then, so you go down this long descent, and me on a descent, I'm borderline braking because I'm scared I'm going to die. And then I'm sprinting because I was like, I don't want to get dropped.
Right.
So I'm going down this hill like, okay, don't die. Sprint. Don't die. And then all of a sudden you see that there's this massive wall of a climb, and you have to have the pop in your legs to get the heck up that hill and hang with them.
Right.
And the braking versus the dying versus the sprinting on the way down tires me out enough that I don't have that pop
to get up.
to keep up with them on that hill, and your heart just goes to your mouth, because you're just like, oh.
It sounds so awesome.
It is, and then but they get me on that stupid hill every time. But anyways, I'm trying. One of these days I'll get there.
So when do you, like, what's your base? So we know your base for running. Well, actually, like, what's your weekly base for running? Like,
Yeah,
do
it's
you maintain
tough.
some kind of base for all the sports that you can kind of like jump in, or?
Yeah, it's tough because with Peloton, I'm beholden to a production schedule more
Right.
so than a training schedule.
Right,
And because
okay.
it doesn't make the same sense as a training schedule. So I'm always running. I can be doing 1 to 2 runs a week with him, or I could be doing 3 to 5 runs a week with him.
Okay.
It just depends. And those runs can be 20 minutes. They can be 90 minutes. There's a lot. There's a lot of variety. So that base changes. But then if I ever feel like I'm getting too low during the week,
Right.
I'll go bang out a run on Friday.
Okay. So you probably have like 25 miles a week.
Something like that.
Easy.
Something
Yeah.
something like that. I don't really track it, to be honest,
And
because
yeah. As long as, but you're running so frequently that it's not really a thing for you. It's not
No.
like you have to think about running. It's like that's what you do for work. So
yeah, I'm still running frequently, and of course I ran in college, and so I'm just like, you get that mental state where you're like, I'm fit, even though you might not be fit.
Yeah,
That's
I kind of feel like that all
me.
the time. And I'm not fit. I'm like, I don't know why I'm so slow.
I don't know why that run hurts so much, and I'm like, oh, maybe you haven't done something like that in a long time.
Yeah, totally. What shoes are you running in these days? Like, do you have like treadmill? Like, what's in your quiver?
Well, I'm doing this partnership with Zappos.
Okay.
And it's been so much fun. Like, I'm trying out all these different shoes that I didn't realize, but all the shoe companies really have it dialed in now.
Yeah.
Like, for a while there was some like left behind, but now, like, I'm telling you, man, that it's been a lot of fun. So typically I'm a Hoka guy.
Yeah.
But now I'm really spreading my wings. So I got quite a few. I've been trying out all kinds of different shoes for this year, and training in a bunch of different shoes. So, gosh, the Hoka Clifton 9s, the Hoka Mach 6s are dope.
Yeah.
I've been trying out the Alpha Flies, to be honest, which has been interesting. I tried out the Vapor. I've been trying out the Alphas. And then Asics has a really awesome shoe they just came out with.
The Metaspeed Paris.
I forget.
Metaspeed Sky.
No, it's something else. But
Yeah.
it's good. And then Brooks has some amazing shoes that have come
Yeah.
out. So I'm playing around with a lot. Right now, my whole apartment absolutely looks like a shoe store. So,
Yeah. I actually in the last few months started a YouTube channel where I'm like reviewing shoes.
Okay.
I mean, I have other stuff on the YouTube channel, but I just started because everybody asked me about shoes, and I try a lot of shoes as well. And I think I can never see what shoes you're wearing though on the treadmill. Like I have to
really?
like zoom in. I'm blind, so I have to like zoom in on my screen. But I saw you were wearing Hoka's today, and I was like, they're just. I love Hoka's. If you like the Rocket X2s, have you tried those yet?
Those
You
the
will love
carbons?
those, yeah.
The carbon
Do you
plate
wear-
ones?
Yeah, do you like
Yeah, I've tried those. Those are dope.
Yeah, and then they have a new one that I just tried, the Cielo X1.
Oh, wow.
So are you a...
Y'all, she's way more dialed in on the gear than I am.
I'm a gear junkie. We haven't even
Wow.
started talking about bikes yet.
I'm like, these shoes are all light and cushiony. Since when?
You've got to try the New Balance,
Oh, is the fuel
the
cell?
V4. Yes.
Oh, yeah. Those are on my list. I have them right now.
They're so good. They're fast and they're cushiony, but they're not like so cushiony that you're like sinking into the shoe.
That's what I've realized. It's
Yeah.
like it's that balance. It's like you got to have the cushion, but you don't want to be like sitting in a
Yeah.
like a cushy couch out there.
Yeah. I feel like I have to try the Alpha Flies. I have them.
Yeah.
But I haven't tried them because
The sound.
you like them.
The sound. No, the
Oh.
sound that they make when you run. I'm like,
Oh.
oh gosh.
I run with music. I can't hear anything.
Oh really? Oh man. Yeah. Anyways, but
I
yeah,
have to
the
try
sound
it.
is different.
Yeah. That's cool. So what do you think you're going to run Boston in? Have you decided?
I don't know. I've done some runs, and everyone's obsessed with the Alpha Flies for a racing shoe. For a training shoe, absolutely not. But it could be that shoe.
Yeah.
I just don't know. I haven't really made the decision yet. I'm trying the different shoes out during my long runs, and seeing what I'm feeling.
Yeah.
And it's going to just be a decision as it gets closer. I've dialed in a lot of things, but I have not dialed that in yet.
Yeah. And then you mentioned Morton for nutrition.
I love it.
So are you a high carb guy or more minimalist?
Gosh.
Like where do you stand on that school of thought?
I am trying desperately to get towards more high carb.
Okay.
Because I think that from everything I can tell and from what I've learned just in the past few years, it makes a big difference. If you can consume it and use it, fantastic. Like you're going to feel better for longer, 1000%. But for me, it's just, can I get it down the hatch without feeling terrible?
Right. And it's hard when you're running. It's easier on the bike.
So for example, like my long runs up until now, I've kept them mostly easy. And yesterday I gave it a push. And the way my stomach reacted to nutrition was slightly different.
Yeah.
And it's just like, it was a little bit more like, chill out, baby. Versus like, oh, we can eat this all day long. So it's a balance, but that's what they call it, like training your gut.
Yeah.
So I'm really working on trying to train my gut to be able to handle more.
Yeah. I feel like that's a thing, right? Because zone 2, zone 3, zone 4, like depending on what speed you're at. Also, I never even thought about that. That's like such a good point.
I've been chronically malnourished during races, I found, for most of my life. Well, for most of my like marathon life, but also cycling.
Yeah.
I'd always just try to get by on the least because I was like just always so worried about my stomach. But now that we're solving this problem of like making nutrition that your stomach can handle, I feel like it's like a whole new world.
Yeah. Now, have you tried exogenous ketones?
No. I know. I should, but I
have
haven't.
some for you. Well,
Oh,
so
really?
You don't
This
mind
is a
me
doping
saying,
project over here, y'all. Watch out.
Wait,
Marty's pushing some drugs over here.
I have some here. I brought you. Well, also,
I can't wait to try.
I brought them because, well, okay, so full disclosure, and I don't have to do this and we can delete this, but they are sponsoring.
That's awesome. No, I've been dying to try it.
But like, I fucking love them.
Awesome.
Like, I would not have them as a sponsor if I did not
So
love
tell
them.
me, where and when does that make sense?
You don't have to change your carbs. It's like more, what I've learned about exogenous ketones from using them is that you also continue with like whatever carbs you're counting, like the gels and the chews and whatever you're taking in. But this is like another lane on the highway. So like if we're on the highway and there's a traffic accident and like you can't,
I'll take all the lanes I can get.
Yeah, so it's a new lane.
All right.
You don't have to like not be a carb person. Like the old school thought was the diet, right? Like the ketone diet.
I mean,
it's not that.
Tell me if I'm wrong, but your body is burning a combo of carbs and fat during running, and the higher the intensity, the more the grabs for carbs.
Yeah, so it's almost like it's probably something good like when you take it like half an hour before you're going to hit the wall.
Got it.
Because it actually prevents you from hitting the wall because it gets you like super focused and gives you like this, it's like having coffee but no stomach ache. I don't know.
All right.
It's like high energy.
No, I'm curious.
I'm giving
you one
after this.
I know. I remember in the pro tour they were talking about this stuff.
Yeah.
And I was like, all right, well, that sounds interesting.
Yeah.
But then it was like $1 million to get anything. So I was like, all right, well.
Yeah. I mean, it's, there's different versions. It doesn't taste great. Like there's different brands out there, but the one brand that I'm working with, I think they're pretty good, and I've tried them for a long time. But so you're trying to increase your carbs, trying not to have a stomach ache.
Yeah, training the gut.
Yeah,
I'm working on it. I've been working on it because I realized I was riding in Greenville last year with Christian. He was just like, I was walking him through how things usually go. He's like, you've got to like increase how much you eat. So I went through the nutrition I brought down. I went through it in like the first quarter of the race.
Yeah.
And I was like, I feel amazing. And then I tried to rely on what was on the course, and what was on the course and my stomach did not get along. And let's just say that was a rough last part of the race. It was rough.
So when will you start training for your triathlon stuff on the bike, like increasing your mileage and all that?
As soon as this marathon's over.
Okay.
As soon as this marathon's over, I'm going to be, and again, I'm such a fair weather cyclist now, it's ridiculous. Like, I'm such a baby. I used to be out with the team in like 18-degree weather. Nope, got the gloves on, now I'm just like, it's in the 30s or it's in like the low 40s. That's still too cold. But like indoor training it's come such a long way.
Yeah.
I can just literally go up, hop on my Peloton.
Yeah.
Bang out some rides. That's just great. That's a great solution during the week. But on the weekends, I need to start getting out there on the weekends and getting some mileage in. Yeah, I'll have to do that.
Yeah, because the training indoors is really game changing, right?
Oh,
Being on the Peloton, because it really keeps you using those similar muscles and also your cardiovascular. But
it's been hilarious. I call this out during class. It's been hilarious to watch my cycling fitness plummet while my running fitness goes higher. So it's again, it's muscle specificity, and I'm really dialed in for running right now versus cycling. Yeah. I'm not dialed in for anything, let's be honest, but running versus cycling. And my old FTP that I'm still hanging on to right now, it feels absolutely brutal. And so I need to take a dose of my own medicine, just bring that FTP down. And
Are you, speaking of, you really do have to get sport specific, right? Like I've always struggled with that. Like I always want to do like half marathons.
You can do everything, just not at the same time. Yeah. That's right.
It really is real.
It's real. I was up there like holding whatever, my zone 3, zone 2. I'm just dying. I'm like, you've got to retest, Matt. You've got to. You're not.
Your FTP. You have to redo
my
your
FTP is too high right now.
Yeah. So what will you do to get it higher?
Oh, my FTP. Once I start the training block, once I start like actually getting back on the bike, retest, see where I'm at, train more responsibly. Yeah. And then it comes back real quick because again, it's just like the cardiovascular fitness is there. Yeah. It's just the muscles. Yeah. And muscles and also the firing pattern, the movement patterns. And once those start coming back, the fitness builds quick. Yeah. So I'm like, I always try to remind people to have patience with their bodies, and myself included. It's just, I know that I can be able to bring it back quick. I just need to spend the time.
And do you use Training Peaks or no?
I love Training Peaks.
Okay.
It's dope.
They're not one of my sponsors. I'm just like,
oh yeah,
I've been on there for like 20.
Another plug coming.
No. I'm like addicted to that. But
Training Peaks is
I
great.
feel like I game the Training Peaks system by doing long bikes. So, because you're talking about fitness, right? Like, and I know obviously like with Peloton, there's all kinds of metrics on the dashboard and all kinds of things that, zones and all the stuff, but Training Peaks is a whole other level. Yeah. And I see when I'm running that my fitness levels like plummet, like they're down. Yeah. Like sinking, and then I'll go out for like a long bike ride and it goes back up and I'm like, yes.
You're
so
funny.
Like it kills me. Running kills me to just be running, because I'll look at Training Peaks and it'll be like 50 is my fitness level.
You're hilarious. You're external motivation versus internal motivation 101 right here, yo.
I'm very motivated by the numbers on the Training Peaks.
Oh, I laugh at like sometimes
I know.
I finish a workout. It's like you need to recover for the next 6 years. Like I'm just like, shut up.
Carmen. Yeah.
I look at my watch and I'm just like, okay, I don't know. It's
Yeah.
they're data points, right? And we always think about like qualitative versus quantitative data.
Yeah.
And I think that the you.
Yeah.
You know, like the quantitative data can be like once you know yourself that well, and you can just be like, it's just like little like grains of salt, right? It's like, okay, how much am I gonna like really lean into this? And I see people lean into too hard to the data all the time. Sometimes they're like,
I'm a little bit of a data geek.
Yeah, I mean, because
it's a problem though, but I know it. I know it. So that's like the first step. So now I know that I'm like super fit, even if it says 50.
You know you're fit. Yeah.
I'm not ready to do a triathlon, but
you're so
coming. It's coming.
No.
I need to get. So what bike are you riding these days?
Oh my gosh,
Talking about gear. Yeah.
The Ventum NS1. I finally got one. I love it.
Yeah.
It's beautiful, and it's. I saw your question. I was like, I have to write down all the knickknacks. I don't know. So my belief in cycling, this happened like early my cycling career, Matt had no money.
I think I knew that.
There was just this. Matt had no money. Matt took his first bonus from the accounting days and bought his first road bike.
Oh, I didn't know you that.
And it was like a half aluminum. It was mostly aluminum with some bits of carbon on it, and I was like, "Oh, this is awesome!" But I knew that the double front ring, so I could race it. And I used to get my kicks out of wailing on the people with nice gear.
Yeah.
Because and my buddy, guys on my team were always like, "Remember that the engine is more important than the gear." And I'm like, and that's so true. You can have the nicest stuff in the world, but if you don't have a good engine, like if your body's not in shape, it doesn't matter. But now I'm that guy that's got like a fancy bike, and I'm like, I can't believe I'm riding something so awesome. And coming from where I used to be to where I am now in terms of gear, it makes me really appreciate it. Like, the gear that we have now is so dope.
Yeah.
It's so fast.
Yeah, it's
so light. I'm like, how do they do this? This is great.
But it's a testament to like people who don't have that stuff and are still crushing it, right?
Yeah, and the thing is like, it's great to have it. It feels great, it looks great, whatever, but you don't have to have it. You can still do a lot with very little. I mean, I'll never forget when I was in college, we were broke, beyond broke. And we would watch the Tour de France, and my buddies on the cross country team, we were like, you know what? We'd see everyone crushing, and we get all excited. We rode the Silver Comet Trail, 50 miles on my mom's old mountain bike, on a road.
That's awesome.
We didn't know what drafting was. We didn't know any, and like, this is I think it was like 4 or 5 fit dudes going and doing this, and I think only 2 to 3 of us made it back. One guy like had to call his girlfriend and be like, just pick me up and dead. Like, but it was just like, it was just so much fun. And we still did a 50-mile ride, but it was, and I didn't even know what drafting was back then.
Yeah. I tried to draft yesterday with a runner.
Are you trying to draft a runner? That's while running?
I was running.
Okay,
I was like,
it does help a little.
I was running because it was so windy. I had to run sideways, and I like ran behind someone.
Echeloning?
Yeah.
There you go.
Is that what it's called?
I think so.
I don't even know.
But
yeah, I mean, like I think I've been on an old bike for a long time, like too, and I love it. I love my old bike. I just got wheels. I think that's a good upgrade. Like you can.
Wheels are one of the best upgrades ever.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
What wheels are you on these days?
This bike's got the Zip 303s.
Okay.
Which are dope.
Yeah.
But I remember that bike, that first bike I had or whatever, I destroyed the wheels I had. Like I raced that bike so hard that I destroyed the wheels. And there was a guy on my team, and I'm like, what wheels should I get? Cyclists are nerds, y'all. There's a lot of cyclists that are like nerd. Like I'm looking at one right now. But this guy, his name is David, and he hands me a book on spoke hub theory, and he goes, "Oh, read this, and we'll talk." I'm like, I can't even make the first page of this book. Like it is putting me to sleep, yo. So, anyways, I ended up buying. Like I just asked another friend, and ended up getting like a pair that was just slightly better than what I had. And it made the biggest difference. because it's the most dynamic part of the bike. It's the most, you know, it's in contact with the ground. It's most resistance, etc. Anyways, it made such a difference. Wheels make a huge deal. And then I got like a set of race wheels eventually. I got borrowed a set of race wheels.
Yeah.
What the heck? Amazing.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like, you know, they really are. It doesn't matter. Like, there's all these things, like schools of thought around wheels that, like, you know, if you're not going over 21 miles an hour, it's not going to make a difference. And I don't go over 21 miles an hour, and it makes a huge difference.
Yeah,
I mean, it's just like the
Now, are you one of those folks with like a disc on the back?
No, no.
Y'all, if you ever hear a disc, it sounds like spaceships coming by.
I love that. I would love it. Like, I would love it to be able to ride on that, but I think I would be flying. I think that would be like, if you see someone flying over New York City, it's me on a disc wheel.
Now, even better question. Are you going to get one of those new helmets? Did you see the new helmet in the Giro? Like the new, like Spaceballs helmet?
I might already have it.
The Aero helmet? No, the new.
Wait, does it have a peak thing? Like, is it like angular in the back?
Well, it's like wider now.
No.
Okay, yeah, I don't think so. I haven't seen them in the real world yet.
Okay, no, I don't know.
Oh man!
I have some pretty crazy helmets.
Y'all, if Marnie gets this helmet, I'm gonna take a photo.
People think I'm a stormtrooper. I like show up at Strictly with like this huge helmet, and then I take it off, and people are like, "How does that fit you? Like, that is like giant."
I don't know, but they're so comfortable inside, right?
Yeah. I mean, and they're so like, it's so important to have a good helmet. That's the other thing I learned.
Yeah.
And like, not to use the same one for like 5 years.
I need to get a new helmet. It's time. Do you recommend anything? I've been riding with the same Specialized helmet for I don't know how many years.
I like the Cask. I mean, not for triathlon, but I like the Cask Utopia Y. Cask.
Just all these things I've never heard of, y'all.
It's a really nice helmet.
Okay.
It's like solid. I don't know like all the details, but it definitely has like they have their own technology that is like the safety technology.
It's not like a normal MIPS type thing.
No, it's their own special technology, but it's similar to MIPS. Yeah.
I need that, and I need a new helmet for skiing because
they make ski helmets too.
Oh, really? Because
they're also not a sponsor.
My ski helmets saved my life probably 2 to 3 times this year already.
What brand do you ski in? What helmet?
Oh, it's a Smith.
Oh, Smith is awesome.
It's such a wonderful helmet, but I've taken some licks this year, so I need a new helmet.
Awesome. Yeah. And then what about like, do you have any like cycling gear or apparel that you love?
Gosh, I think, obviously everyone knows Rafa is good stuff, but Win Republic I think is the biggest secret for me.
Yeah.
Their stuff just doesn't even feel like it's on.
Yeah. It has to fit well, right? Like that's the other thing. It's
so breathable, and it just doesn't feel like it's even on. So I love their stuff.
Yeah.
And but cycling gear, I don't know. I need to make some upgrades this year for shoes. I need to make an upgrade.
What shoes?
I've been wearing the same Specialized shoes forever.
I have the same triathlon like Velcro shoes forever.
Oh yeah.
I have other cycling shoes, but I feel like for triathlon they're not as good.
Got it. I gotta make some upgrades. We'll see. But I don't know. Gear is. I'm not too obsessed with gear because it's
Yeah. No. I'm a little bit like I have a problem.
Yeah, no, I mean that's fine.
Like, Lori came into me the other day and she's like, "You are seriously a geek," and I'm like, "You didn't know that about me? Like my whole life, I'm just like, I'm into gear."
Oh, our whole apartment looks like a Dick's Sporting Goods.
Yeah.
So I can't say we're not into gear, but anything I turn my wife onto, she's just like she goes deep in the rabbit hole, and I'm just like, yeah, whatever she gets.
Yeah, I'll take that.
Yeah.
Are you so your next race, so Boston, so like back to running and training. Yeah, that's your next race, and then after that?
After that, I guess it's training for Muscle Man. I think I'm still going to do the mile this year with New York Road Runners. I love that race.
Yeah. What's your mile pace these days?
Oh, it's okay. I'm still below. I want to see how old I can get and still be sub 5.
Yeah.
So I'm still sub 5.
All right.
But
awesome.
I would love to get under 550 this year if I can.
Yeah.
But I don't know how much training I'll be able to put forth towards that, so we'll see.
Now, I have like one last question for you, which is totally about my training.
There we go.
And then we're done.
All right, let's go.
My last question. All right. It's a math question, so I think you'll be good at it.
Oh gosh.
I am running an 11-minute mile for a long run, and I would like to run a 9-minute mile,
Okay.
maybe sub 9, for the New York City Marathon, so that I can do it in under 4 hours and qualify for Boston in the following year. I
Yeah.
have almost a year.
Yeah.
Is it possible?
That's almost a year. I
2
think
minutes.
so.
Wait, 9, 10, 11, 2 minutes.
2 minutes mile in a marathon. I think that's possible, but it really comes down to how much training you can put towards it,
Yeah.
and how focused you can make that training, and it'd have to be pretty methodical.
Okay.
And so I would say that obviously it's building. You have to first build the biomechanics to be able to handle the speed over short distances.
Okay.
And so I would work there first, and like getting to the track, getting to know or getting on the treadmill and getting comfortable with. I really like using the treadmill to be honest, more even than the track these days. Getting on the treadmill and then doing intervals at that pace and just getting comfortable with it. And like part of it is physiology of like just getting your bodies fast, but a big part of it I see for runners is just getting their mind wrapped around it and being like, I can do this.
Right.
And so it's, I would say you would want to do, I'm going to start with short intervals, get the biomechanics down, and then build from there. But
Yeah.
I'd have to lay out a whole training program for you, but I think that's absolutely doable.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Do you have a favorite running distance?
So my favorite running distance would probably be somewhere between the mile and the 5K, probably one of those two, because it's like, I'd say probably the 5K, because it's distance enough to be distancey, and you can be as slow as I am, but still be considered fast.
Okay.
And then, and it's also like you bust it out hard and it's done. So yeah, I'd say probably the 5K.
I forgot to ask you your thoughts on training for multiple marathons in a row, right? Like, because I see a lot of people, obviously Shalane Flanagan did that, a couple years ago, where she did like 6 marathons. I don't remember what it was, either 6 marathons in 6 weeks or 7 marathons in 7 weeks. Like, when you're going from like thing to thing to thing, it could be a marathon, it could be a triathlon. What's the ratio of recovery to build back, or how do
It really depends, right? It really depends on the athlete you're talking to. Like a Shalane Flanagan, like obviously she bounces back much faster than most people.
Right.
'Cause she's been marathoning forever, right?
Right.
So she's going to bounce back. She's got no less problem with that. But like an athlete that's just getting up, that's not used to marathoning, is different. Like I just finished 17 miles. I'm a train wreck. So it's like it's going to take me longer to recover. And then you talk about like how old the athlete is. Like older athletes take longer to recover.
Okay.
So I don't think it's a one size fits all.
Okay.
And so, train them up for the distance. You have to think about the trade-off between getting it done and performance.
Right.
So are we going for a PR?
Right.
Or are we just going out there to get it done? That results in 2 levels of fatigue, different levels of fatigue, right?
Okay.
And so there might be that trade-off there. So there's a lot that you have to kind of decide that would depend on that would deviate, dictate what the recovery looks like.
So it's really like case by case dependent, and also like the level of the athlete, like where they are.
Case by case, but at the end of the race though too, like no two races are going to be the same.
Yeah.
And so when you walk away, you might be completely train wrecked from. The other one you may be like, no problem.
Yeah.
But I think that if you're packing back-to-back races, and eventually there's going to be some residual fatigue, and that's going to impact performance.
Okay.
And so you have to decide, like, are we going to pick an A race, or are we just going to do so-so of both?
Yeah.
But it depends on the level of athlete, depends on a lot of things, right?
Yeah. All right, cool. Well, thank you.
Yeah,
This has
thanks
been
for having
awesome.
me.
Thanks
I
for being
appreciate
on
it.
the
Yeah, absolutely.
podcast.
I always like nerding out with you.